Good afternoon, Katie.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Good to see you, if only remotely.
The only way you see anyone nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, becoming the new norm. So I hope you and your family are well and doing okay.
Yeah, we're all fine. We're managing, coping. Yeah, in
Yeah,
fact, more than that, it's nice to have them all home. Hard work juggling it all, but kind of quality time as well. So you shouldn't complain.
yeah. Oh, great. Well, for the people that are watching this that don't know what you do, the Social Giraffe, if you'd just like to introduce what you do at the Social Giraffe, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. We are a social media agency. We started in 2018, or I started it as a sole trader. And then last year we became a limited company. I had to become a limited company because I took on more people working for me, and it was no longer scalable just as a single person. So I decided to expand the business last year, which has been really fun actually. So now we have a team of vetted freelancers that we use. We're very fortunate to have support networks we can draw on to source these people. And so we specialize really in social media management, training, Facebook advertising, creating content, Pinterest, and we also have some online training courses coming on board. So the whole sort of social media mix, really.
Excellent. So that sounds, yeah, and lots of people know the value of social media in terms of getting your message out there. And when I first, many years ago, probably about 2012, 13, I delivered a couple of social media workshops then, but my knowledge now is kind of limited because things change so quick. And I look back then to how it is now, and it's, it changes so fast, doesn't it? How all these different things work.
Yeah, I mean, as a team, we always allocate half a day a week to upskill, and we're continually training. It's part of what we do. And I always think to myself, how will I know when I want to stop running the business? And I will know when that time is, when I don't want to learn anymore, because it is a continual thing. And we belong to all sorts of organizations and forums. And we just basically every week go through that list, updating ourselves on everything that we need to know. So, yeah, it's fun though. We like the fact it's fast moving and different all the time. We haven't quite got to grips with TikTok yet, but we're getting there.
I keep threatening the kids that if they don't behave, I'm going to join TikTok. And oh yeah, so maybe I did. It used to be Musically, didn't it? I did go on there once, but
yeah, there are some brands doing really well on there, but they have to be quite trendy, and it's a very young platform. It's full of very current trendy brands, and I think if you're somebody like that, you can do really well on there actually. And they do have really cheap advertising still because it's new, so it's definitely a marketplace for it. But yeah, it's pretty niche. I wouldn't do very well on there.
Great. So I've got a couple of questions for you. One was really, how's your business changed during the pandemic, if it has at all? And two is how do you think how are other brands out there, how do you think they fared during social media and using that to their advantage or not?
Okay. We've been really lucky actually, because we already run as a remote team. Our day-to-day business hasn't really changed, other than the fact that we're all juggling having families and children home, which is difficult from a time perspective. We've never actually had a bricks and mortar business anyway, because it sounds ridiculous, but it was about keeping our carbon footprint down, and also about overheads. So we've always operated as a remote team. So we're already pretty good on Zoom and all of those things. So I think the biggest change for the business has been customers probably cutting back, because some people are struggling to see the value in spending on social media at a time like this. But then conversely, other people seeing it's an ideal opportunity to get all of that going so that they can come out the other side of this, ready to grow. And also, there's a lot of people at home on their computers, a lot of people on social media. So actually social advertising at the moment is doing incredibly well. So I'd say from a day-to-day perspective, nothing's changed really, to be fair. And as for how brands are faring, I think progressive, forward-thinking brands are doing really well out of it, because they're realizing that this is their best route to market, through the computer. And so social advertising, they're all redoing their websites. Yeah, so actually it's in a bizarre way, it's a buoyant time, but I think only from businesses that have financially sound platforms already, because it's hard to see the investment when you see your business falling around you. You're not going to shell out on marketing. But the established brands are really going for it at the moment. People in my industry are really busy, so it's good.
Oh, that's good. Well, we found it with our magazines that, first of all, that's often we've had to put the next magazine on hold. Lots of people obviously are not going to advertise right now, so we're not sure what's going on with that. So, but there is that importance to look at your strategy, isn't there? How there's time to take stock. If people at the moment are furloughed or they're have down tools somewhat. I found initially everyone's like, oh my word, what's going to happen? And then you absorb it. There's some time to kind of take a step back and have a look at it. So some of my clients now, from the design point of view, are coming back and saying, yeah, now's the time I can actually think about what I want to say and how I say it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fantastic time to write a strategy, I think, first of all, the current climate that we're living through requires a strategy, because you can't just press on with your social media as if nothing's happening. And lots of our clients have asked, what do we do? We don't want to look like we're jumping on the COVID bandwagon. But the thing is, it's a bit like the elephant in the room. You have to acknowledge it, because it's everybody's life at the moment, so you can't avoid it. Secondly, it's a fantastic time to sell products or raise awareness about your services, because people are flicking through their phones and they're on the internet. Yeah. So it's the worst possible time to draw back on those services. So that's what we've been advising people, is to press ahead. And also, it's a great opportunity to show your human side as well. What struggles are you having? How is your business coping? Because the chances are that there are other businesses feeling the same. And I think that kind of human element's really important. It's a bit like on the playground, your best friend who always had everything going on was not really that approachable or easy to be a friend with, but your friend who let you pick them up and help them and support them. So it's a great time for collaboration and, finding new team players. And it brings out of people, I think, a crisis, a different side, things they weren't good at before, they realise they are. And it gives everybody that time to pause and reflect. So it's an interesting time, I think.
Yeah, I mean that was part of the reason behind doing this kind of meet the business was, which is great. Lots of people are doing things. We all spend time building these networks up, and if it's not, what's it for? It's to help others, isn't it? And like you mentioned, the collaboration. So by doing this, and as you said, is showcasing the face behind the business, which is what we've always wanted to do with networking or the magazine. It's any form of business, whether it's a product or a service, it's that interaction with the business or the person that owns it, isn't it?
I think it's really important, and I think with social media it's especially important, because I can't possibly represent somebody's business digitally if I haven't taken the time and trouble to get to know them and what their passions are, what their business ethos is, what they're trying to achieve. I can't possibly emulate what they're trying to achieve without really getting to know them. So that's a really important element, and it's so much more than just posting. It's having a conversation with that client's communities. So you do need to effectively be them. And I think, at the moment, the conversations are difficult because people worry that they're cashing in on the crises, or, and there's nothing worse than people feeling somebody's changed their perspective in order to make money out of people at the moment. But what I've been saying to my clients is, if they're still selling the same product and it's useful to the people right now, so, an example would be hand cream. Well, we're all washing our hands furiously. So if you do happen to manufacture or sell hand cream, that is not taking advantage of people's difficulties at the moment. It's just your stars have aligned. So that's why you have a business. So, it'd be different if you started manufacturing hand cream, especially to, help at the moment. But I think that, it's a great time for people to help each other out, to perhaps pivot and change a bit within their own businesses. And we're certainly doing a lot of collaborative working with the Helix project, which is a fantastic thing that's come on board. And we're also doing a lot of voluntary work as well. So we're supporting the social media at the moment for the Cornwall group and for the main London group for a scrubs hub, so making scrubs online.
Oh
for
yes, yeah,
NHS workers.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing that, and that's taking up a lot of time. The London one has 42,000 members.
Wow.
So there's this
Okay.
whole cottage industry that's grown out of the lack of PPE equipment. And we're really busy running the social media for that at the moment. So that's fantastically exciting. And then we support other charities and social enterprises as well. And they're really, in an ideal world, our perfect client, because we do like to, social media that makes a difference is what we're all about, really.
Oh, excellent. I say there's been lots of those, as you mentioned, that have it's really sort of come into its own, and people have really noticed the value in it, haven't they? And it's funny sometimes that you mentioned the strategy is people not having a strategy. Well, I need to be on Facebook, I need to be on Twitter, whatever. But if you don't have a goal or a strategy, then there's no point. And there's a lot of people that just post stuff, throw enough stuff, what sticks. And it might be, you upload something that doesn't, what does it mean? What you want them to do? And I think this time for people to see what others are doing, and those that you mentioned that have innovated and thought, well, we already do this. How can we keep our business going? I noticed there was a company down in Exeter that do cocktails, drinks, etc. in a bar, which obviously is closed. And how can they then pivot that they can do something that's delivered? If it's normally to trade, how can they do something that's in their local area?
Well, that's when I think online communities come into the fore, because there's nothing like a good brainstorming session, either with a networking group or an online community. Unfortunately, because my business operates remotely anyway, that is how we're used to communicating with people. So some amazing communities have, grown up out of this or changed. I mean, certainly the Social Giraffe Tower, which is our supportive Facebook group, we've changed a bit on that at the moment, and we've got a life coach, a personal trainer, a nutritionist, and all sorts of other people adding value in that group at the moment, so that we can support our whole online business community. And a lot of the questions in there are about, how do I move on? What's going to happen at the end of this? What do I do with my business? And I think, I just encourage people to keep an open mind, really, and not to hesitate to volunteer at the moment, because it's keeping your skills in, and it's building relationships for later on down the line, stopping you sitting at home worrying about the future. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how people work at the end of it. And certainly we have clients who aren't just in Somerset, who we have a relationship with over Zoom, and it can work. I think it's harder work, because I think video is a whole different thing. But I think, once you've got used to it and comfortable with it, you can still have good conversations with people via Zoom.
Yeah, I think we've already looked at how we can utilise it to some of the bits that, to our advantage of doing it. So yeah, I think, because I mean, like you, I can predominantly work remotely, so it's not been too different for us. But yeah, it's seeing those businesses that are innovating, seeing what people are putting out, that are helping each other. Yeah, it's really good.
It strikes me that the biggest single problem people are having is connectivity. Well, certainly here in the southwest, and I think if our connectivity was better, you'd see a lot of people giving up their office premises to work from home, because I think for a lot of people it's been really successful. And it's all down to trust, and these are all things that we've already established within our business, that the people who work for me, I know they work hard. I don't have to have that fear of looking at them all day, every day. But it is difficult with connectivity, it really is. And I think that if somebody could find a solution to that, it would completely change how rural businesses operate.
Yeah, I think so it's definitely going to change things forever, and some things won't go back to how they were. And like you mentioned there, how things are going to change in terms of the trust element, and having more work-life balance, as people often say, and having that kind of structure of 9 to 5 is already changing. And then this is almost kind of, I've been saying, sort of almost the beta test of, let's push these businesses to do it. And lots of people, it's worked really, really well, and they thought,
I know a couple of businesses who have been thinking about moving to new premises, because their staff have grown, and they're now thinking about running an A/B alternate team every other week. So 1 week home working, the next week in the office, and then every 6 months they mix the teams up again. So you're still getting that face-to-face contact, because some people love that and miss that, but there's still that amazing flexibility of working from home. And during your working from home hours, providing your work is done and you attend meetings and calls when you need to, nobody knows if you're out for a walk at 10 o'clock in the morning or at the gym at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or picking your kids up or whatever. So I think it's the way forward. I really do.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Well, what are your sort of, you've given us lots of advice and value and stuff. Is there anything particular you want to mention tip wise, or things that people could do?
I think that I would just encourage everybody to not go quiet. This isn't the time to disappear. This is the time to keep busy on social media and to forge new connections and collaborations. And even if they're not financially viable right now, they might well be in the long term. So don't disappear. Now's not the time for that, when people are open and ready for new conversation and new ideas. So I think that's my main takeaway, because a lot of people started by saying, I'm just not going to do social media, it seems inappropriate. In fact, I had a client who's cancelled all their work, they just don't feel it's appropriate. Yeah. But actually, they could be selling so much stock at the moment while people are at home. But it's down to a personal feeling, but there's no embarrassment or shame in keeping on going. Now that we're in this for the long haul and it's not just a week, then there's no bad thing about trying to keep your business going and continuing to do what you've always done. I think that's the biggest takeaway.
Absolutely, and I think, because we often say with what we do, whether it's in print advertising, direct mail, magazines, whether it's in business networking or it's using social media, these things always take time. They are always the long term, you're in for the long haul and the long term gain, isn't it? And it's about investing. You mentioned it's nurturing those relationships. If somebody turns up, if somebody gives social media a blast for 1 month and expects the world to light up, it's not going to happen. If you go to 3 networking events and expect everybody to ring out and buying your stuff, it's not going to happen. And the same with advertising. It's a long-term relationship, which with what you do, where you say, well, you've got people at home at the moment that are sitting there with their phone looking. It's a great time to keep visible, isn't it?
I mean, and I think that's the key word, is relationships. Social media isn't a one-way conversation. It is a conversation with your potential customers, your potential clients, and with your community. And if you're keeping forefront in their mind, then when they need some accountancy advice or a particular product, they will immediately think of you. That's human nature. Yeah. So, now is a really, really good time to keep present. And if you're twiddling your thumbs at home because you've been furloughed, then charities are desperate for people to volunteer and use their skills at the moment, no matter what they are, whether they're bookkeeping or copywriting. Just phone up a charity you feel aligned with and see what you can do, because they're really struggling at the moment.
Yeah, that's really, really good point. Yeah, they're under a lot of pressure. I've seen lots of things in the news about that.
Yeah, and they're still trying to sort of continue doing all the valuable work that they do, but people haven't got any money for donations and they're not able to fundraise. So it's quite desperate, really, because a lot of disadvantaged places and people are reliant on those charities.
Yeah,
so
and
it's hard.
I think, speaking to a few people, there might be opportunities, say, when you take stock, if you might find your calling in this, thinking, actually, I like doing this stuff that I've done. Maybe it's the time I made a decision. And the recruitment.
I always say that if I could make a career out of voluntary work, that's what I would.
Yeah, do. I mean,
but unfortunately, it doesn't pay the bills. But that's where my heart is in making a difference. So I've turned it on its head, and I try and I love to have clients where the social media can make a difference for somebody.
Yeah,
that's how I.
That's fantastic, and thank you for your tips and advice. So I'll share the links to your social channels, and people can see what you're doing and advice you're giving to beyond this video today. I'm going to finish now with my kind of killer question, almost a school question of what if you didn't work within social media and strategy and helping businesses, what do you think you might have done instead?
It's funny how life goes full circle, but when I had my first careers test, I was meant to be a zookeeper. So right, I don't know if that lodged itself somewhere in my brain, and that's where the social giraffe came from. But yeah, zookeeper, apparently.
Zookeeper.
obviously, other than watching The Tiger King, I haven't really progressed much on that.
I think a lot of people have watched that in lockdown, haven't they?
I noticed the other day that one of the Zoom backgrounds you can download is of the Tiger King, sort of sitting on your right hand shoulder. I was tempted for today, but I thought maybe not.
I'll have to look into that. Oh,
sorry, it's a dog.
That's all right. I've had a cat now, and we've got a dog. We'll get a giraffe by the end of all these. If I can do that. Well, thank you so much for your time, Katie. I'm glad to see you if it's online only, and hopefully we'll catch up soon in person at an event soon. So thank you for your time today, and I'll share the links, and people can get in touch and see if you can help them out or whatever you're doing. But thanks again.
Thank you. Nice to chat. Take care.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.